Hey, hey, hey. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So glad to be here. Tonight is going to be a little bit different than it has been. So tonight is all about you. It usually is about you. Uh, Actually, not even usually. It's always about you. But tonight I want to answer questions. I want to answer your questions. And so I have some demos, a demo specifically that I can show that gets a little bit more into topic that I shared a video on earlier in last week. Last Friday, the video that I dropped was about how you can set up a RFI or room for improvement or lessons learned. And I did it from three different applications. And then I got some offline questions from a community member. And if that community member is here, or if you're interested in how to use Apple Notes in an interesting way, this evening I got a little demo I can share with you. But other than that, I'm going to sit back and let you guys ask me questions and I want to answer them tonight. And so we're going to get into that as quickly as possible. But I want to let you know who's out there. We do have a couple of folks who's out here with us this evening. So let me say hello to a couple of folks. I'm going to start with Frank Jackson. Welcome, moderator. Salute to you. And he's over here in the lounge, y'all, waving at me. I'm not waving back at him though. And so, welcome to the show this evening, Frank. And we have none other than the emotional CEO saying, yes, happy Friday, Live Tribe. It is a happy Friday. And it is the end of an eventful week for so many. And glad to have you here. If you're commenting, welcome. If you are listening and you're not commenting, welcome. If you are on the replay, welcome for being part of the live tribe. And moderator salute to you as well. And Miss Inanea, glad to see you in the building tonight. And moderator salute to you. Y'all, come on with your questions. Come on with your questions. I want to answer questions this evening, and we have that wonderful Ravens Talk with Yolanda Bruce. Hello, hello, welcome to the show. And good, good, good. I'm so glad to see you in the building, this young lady. I got something for you tonight. Miss Denise with Homemaking with Denise. And yes, hello to everyone who is here. I'm going to share that if no one has questions. I know it's going to be a little bit of a delay, but I will give you time to catch up. Welcome to the show, Jess Tornar. Tora, so glad to have you, girl. You be tearing it up in the morning. Let me just tell you. You will make sure we get our life right. You will make sure. So, questions, I want your questions this evening, and I want to answer them as best that I can. Not perfect by any stretch. We're learning together. Productivity is a constant journey, and I that was one of the things that I learned a long time ago, and it's very personal to you. And no two people even will use the exact same tools the same way. We can all use if all of us who are here together tonight use the exact same tool set, we would use them differently because we are different. We think different. Our what we deal with is different. Our lifestyles are different. Our life story is different. What's important to me is different than what's important to each of you. And so those factors mean that our productivity environment has to be unique to us. At the same time, we can take inspiration and lessons from another person and then adapt that to work in our own space. And my goal is to share some of the things that I do and some of the things that I learn to help give you some ideas. How can I use that? How can I use it in my environment? How can I use it to make me more productive? How can I use it to remove another point of friction that I'm running up against? So, I'm going to just share. You guys saw the video, but I want to share this with you all anyway while we're waiting for questions to come through. Last week, I shared a video about using lessons learned, and I showed it using different tools. I showed it using Google Keep, using Apple Notes, which you see on the screen, and using Evernote. And the reason I did that is because lessons learned. Great. Thank you, Mr. James Hicks is in the building. Hey, Dr. Hicks. So glad to have you. And I want to answer your question. So, the reason I showed this is because one of the ways I learned to figure out what's bothering me in my productivity system is when I run into a roadblock or when I'm doing anything, just take a quick, just jot it down. I put it on a post-it note. It doesn't matter what I jot it down on, but what matters is I gather it all back into one place. This is a practice I started doing professionally years, many, many, many years ago. And so in my program management and engagement management role, every project, every client, every meeting, every report, you get feedback. Sometimes it's really wonderful feedback. Those are the things you want to keep doing. You want to capture those as well. But a lot of times it's things that maybe the message wasn't as clear. Maybe the report was confusing. Maybe the timing was off. It could be any number of things. Maybe I left somebody off of a distribution list and didn't realize that I should have put them on there. Maybe I didn't capture who the person was and what their role was, but just any number of things. Sometimes it's, I'm talking and I go, "Ooh, you didn't say that well." All of those things is what I call RFIs or lessons learned. And I grab them and I just jot them down. And during the week, I then have an opportunity, for example, if it's this one, you know, I had on November 30th, this literally is what I wrote. November 30th, add affiliate note link in Apple Notes. Why? Would I remember to do it? Maybe. Would I remember that in November I caught myself and didn't have that together? No. But if I look back as you do a reflection or as I call plan, do, review, the review, you can see all of these, right? So that's the beauty of it. Oftentimes we say to ourselves, I'm guilty of this. I'll remember that. Oh, I'll fix it. We don't even give ourselves the opportunity to celebrate our wins because we're not tracking those wins. This is a way to track our wins. So if I took care of this, I could check it off and see that I did it. If I added something today, so the way I would do this is just put in today is December 6th, 2024. Trick about Apple Notes, now you can make that a title. And what it does is it puts a little chevron so you can hide it to the next one. So if I, for example, wanted to capture this that says, look into auto-populating, I'm going to pick on you, Mr. Hicks, auto-populating calendars, right? Then that's just something that I'm going to do. I'm going to make it a checkbox item. And when I do it, it's done. I can see I captured it on December 6th. When I get to it and I do it, I can see it was done. So if you don't have a mechanism that you use, it can be a notebook. Picking on Mr. Hicks again, he has his focus planner. There's plenty of space in that planner for you to just day by day capture these little, what I call little annoyances. And you can go back through it and check them off that you did them. You took care of it. Again, another option if you love paper, y'all know I love a good fountain pen and some good paper. You could use something a much bigger one page for every day. The Power Planner by the Emotional CEO is another one. Or you can use something as simple as Apple Notes. I use a combination because during the day, I just I'm handwriting. So I have one of those books open or my red book open, and I'm just jotting stuff down during the day. I'm not worrying about opening an app, doing anything with it. I'm just grabbing it as it comes to me. But I make sure it gets back into my main system. Why? Because I know I'll see it. So wanted to share that with you. And Denise, I want to show you a demo of something a little bit later, but I want to get back to this question that I got in today is Q&A. So please ask your questions. So, Mr. Hicks asked this question. My thoughts on AI auto populating calendars like Motion and AkiFlow apps. So, I have not tested either. I am quite familiar with how they work. However, here's my thoughts is your calendar is so personal that if it's the one that you like, I call it my personal, that up close and personal stuff, I want to manage what's happening to it. The flip side of it is if you have I have a separate I've recently done this. I created a separate sub calendar for all the channels that I'm now a moderator on so that I can have a list of all of their shows, their regular times, and I can see it in relationship to everything else on my calendar. And if I have a conflict, those kinds of things I could see using it. Now, I would love to know your thoughts. If I'm not there yet, I'm just not at the point where I'm ready to have an app put everything on my calendar for me. That's like the short answer, quite frankly. Not that it's bad. I just like controlling and moving activities around. My calendar is really, really fluid and it changes a lot. Today, I had 8 meetings and 3 of them shifted in the as the day got started. So I'm constantly having to move activities around. So I like being able to control it myself. And if you want to dig in more, please ask me more about that. The next question I'm going to answer is I got to be able to work a computer. Is Miss Torah is probably coming with a really difficult question. Do you use a cloud storage system? Any recommendations? I've been relying and using hard disk drives, but today listening to Diana Gladney, I'm thinking it's probably time to get a cloud type storage suggestions. I do use cloud storage. Okay, one of my devices is talking to me. But what I use a combination. I use Google Cloud Storage and I use iCloud Storage. Some things the iCloud Storage I primarily use at this stage for video and for moving other documents between computers. That's my primary use for it. It's not for long term storage. My long term storage is Google Cloud because I've got access to like 100 terabytes of storage. So long term storage I put on Google Cloud. That's the way I do it. James Hicks is a cloud expert. He can probably give you a more thorough answer. So if you have access to either of those, a long time ago, I used Dropbox. The thing that I did not particularly care for with Dropbox at the time, I wanted to do more shared and collaborative work, and the documents in Dropbox at the time, if one person opened up the spreadsheet or the deck or whatever it was, nobody else could get in it. That's opened up a little bit more, but I left Dropbox. I still have the account. I just stopped paying for the extra cloud storage, and I really don't use it anymore. I've got like one thing that syncs through there left, and that's all I use it for. So for me, it's a combination of iCloud and Google Cloud Storage. In my corporate world, we only use cloud storage, and it's a Microsoft shop, so it's all Microsoft Cloud Storage, OneDrive, basically, and SharePoint. So I have experience with all of them because I use them every day. So my suggestion to you, it depends on whether you're looking for short term or long term and how much you already have access to. The other thing I will say to you is these are not your backup solutions. These are not your backup solutions. If you have stuff that you really, really want to make sure you have a good backup of, put another backup solution in place. In fact, probably a couple. And by that, I mean you could use something like Backblaze, which it's truly backup. It's not, it's there and I can get to it. It's for backup and restore. And then you want to take one other physical portable hard drive. You can get 4 terabyte hard drives for next to nothing now. They can even be SSDs and have that available. And that one, if you're using it, you want to have it off site. Don't have it in your house or in your office. Because if your house burns down and your hard drive with your backup is in there, it did you no good. So, old fashioned IT stuff, have something physical offsite someplace else that you can get to it if you need it, and have more than one backup. And please ask follow-up questions to that if I didn't answer the question that you're asking. And I'm trying to do Q colon and it's doing something weird here. All right. Any other questions? I'm not seeing any other questions. If you have any other questions, please go ahead and put them in. Tonight, I'm doing something new. I just want to be able to, at the end of the year, um, answer questions that may have been brewing. Oh, okay, great. Denise, I see you. And so your key point, you want backup and long-term storage. Great. So backup, again, use something like Backblaze. It's pretty inexpensive. And then get a really good SSD, 4 terabyte hard drive. And it's the essential things that you want. The documents that are really, really important to you. Put them on there and then store them at your parents' house, at the kids' house, someplace other than at your house. In your office, but someplace offsite so that you have that you can go back to. Now, that also means when you do that offsite, that you will need to set up some routine, maybe once a month, once a quarter, where you do a refresh and you're rotating that so that your data is current. Yeah, you could use NAS. You use NAS for editing, awesome. And James Hicks says he used long-term storage. I did this differently today, but James Hicks says, I want to put this up so everybody can see it because he's the man. He says, I use long-term storage. You use Google, Apple, and a local direct attached storage. For editing, he uses a network attached storage. You use Synology, James? I'm curious if you're using Synology. And an external SSD for backup, use pCloud. So those are some options for you. And if you want more detail on any of those, reach out to James Hicks. If you go to jameshicks.live, I believe it is now, you will know how to reach him. All right. And David David Hunt talks about Synology as a backup storage solution that you use. It's awesome. Samsung has 2 and 4 terabyte SSDs for relatively inexpensive, affordable. So Denise has a question. Remind you about RFI areas, projects, or concerns, but got notebooks and now Apple Notes and Google Form. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this example that I was sharing. So I'm going to do this in Apple Notes, Denise, because the RFI is room for improvement, or you can just say lessons learned, and it's just a set of documents or pages where you capture. I As I said earlier, I just write down things that are annoying me or that I see that I didn't do as well as I wanted to, or I got feedback from someone and I just capture them. During the day or when I'm in meetings, I'm not doing that on a computer. As you know, I love paper and pen. My brain thinks with paper and pen. So I just jot it down. Either during my evening shutdown or at the end of the week when I'm doing my weekly review, I'll go through and I'll just put them in here. Like this quick list here. Today I put this in, look into auto-populating calendars because I do want to spend some more time with that. So that's like a lesson or RFI, right? For me. And I do it by date. And in Apple, you can now make these titles so you can collapse them so that you can make them small and see the date. So that's a feature. And if you have the latest version of Apple Notes, this just started like when iOS 18 and the current Mac OS version, and it wasn't available previous to that. So I just jot them down. Nothing fancy. And it doesn't matter. You can break them up into different areas like content creation, client remote production. So if you're doing remote production for a client, you could make one just for your own if you're doing videos. You want one if you've got a volunteer organization you're working with. In your case, Denise, you've got your channel, you've got homemaking with Denise, and you've got Apron Diva. You can put them together in the same note, or you can separate them. It just depends on how you think. The key is you're capturing them. And then I like knowing about when something happened. I'm very date oriented. Blame it on being a project manager. And so I like to put the date in the on the page so I know when I wrote down that idea or that thing I needed to fix or address. And then I just check them off. Like this is quite frankly one for client remote production, and we've been doing this for a while, all the way back to July. So the green markings you see are things that we've already fixed. If there's not a green marking, hasn't been fixed yet, hasn't been addressed, it's still an open loop. So that's the RFI piece. You can do this again in a paper notebook. You can do it in Apple Notes. You can do it in Notion. You can do it in Google Keep. You can do it in a Google Doc. It doesn't any number of tools, but the idea is what you want to get because you could make this separate Google Docs or separate pages or separate keynotes as long as it's in a place and it's a consistent place where you know you're going to capture that and you can go back and use it. I'm showing Apple Notes because if you're in the Apple ecosystem, you already have access to it. You don't have to install anything new and you can just use it and you have access. It syncs on all of your devices. If you have multiple Apple devices, it's going to sync across all of them and it doesn't require any additional effort on your part. Okay. So that's the reason I am saying to folks who are in the Apple ecosystem, maybe look at Apple Notes. It has matured so much. So much. All right. Um Taurus, you always have something. You always have something great to say. Taurus says this. This is better safe than sorry. I haven't had a dry fail me in many years, but I don't want to wait on it to possibly happen either. Yeah, right? Yeah, absolutely. And it may not even be the drive that fails, it may be the whole computer fails, right? The entire computer could fail. And in that case, you may be able to take the drive out and put it in another computer. It depends. Another secret, this is old IT stuff. If you have one drive, divide your drive, partition your drive, put your operating system on one and your data on a different one. In the old days, we would always put multiple drives in the box, and we would have that second drive strictly for data, and applications or programs and the operating system would be on the C drive. So that's also another way to address that, kind of putting a layer of protection in. Many people don't think about that these days, but that practice still is very useful. It will save you a lot of time and headache and tears. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Learned it the hard way. That's how I know. And yeah, Synology is the truth. If having a lot of storage available and quickly available. So Denise, I'm glad you're here. I want to show you something that I've been playing with, and I wanted you to kind of see this. So you had asked a question when we were together. So it's about collaborating. So here in Apple Notes, I created a folder called collaboration. Pick a name, doesn't matter what the name is. I put some subfolders in here: ideas, editing, ready to publish. Again, whatever your flow is. Then in the ideas, I've just got a document that says Project X task. And because you now have this checkbox, you can just put the task in here. If you're collaborating, you can put the person's name next to it. And if you have ideas, you can just have, these are my ideas. This is just a page, right? But let's say you're now working on a script. You can have that page that says video Y script, whatever the title of your video is. Organize it. You can highlight sections. You can put bullet points in for segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, your call to action. But here's the thing. Not only can you share a note, you can share the whole folder. And so let me try to do this correctly. Is it going to let me? Yeah, I have to do these this way. So if I want to share these ideas, I click on the share sheet button. It's on every Apple device. And I can say collaborate. I'm going to send it to one of my moderators. And now my moderator has that folder. That moderator can now create a note, can update these notes in this folder. So if I share all of these, James, you may know the answer to this because you spent many years at Apple. I thought I could yeah, I can share this top folder, which is what I really wanted to do. I want to share this top folder instead of the individual ones. Now, all of the folders that I have shared with this person, even they can create new folders. I can rename folders and they'll see it. So the way you move, and now if I move this note from we finished our work and it's ready to publish, drag it in there, everybody can see this script is ready to go. We're ready to publish. We've done the recording, we've done the editing, we've done whatever we needed to do. Everybody sees it. I don't have to call them. I don't have to text them. I don't have to do anything. They can just see it. We can move on to the next project and say, okay, now I'm ready to work on another script. Let's say instead of a script, let's say something like update graphics design for New Apron. So this is a new apron you're working on, and you've got bunches of notes, bunches of notes, bunches of notes. And you and your collaborators got stuff you need to do. You don't have to create a separate task list. You can say task one, task two, and just turn them into check boxes. Check it off. Did we get that project done? Oh, okay. We want to know we can track that. So let's go ahead and create a folder called closed projects. I use closed projects a lot, just so you know. And I want to put this way down here. And now I've finished this project. Put it here. Myself, the person who's collaborating with me, can see that that project is complete. We have a record of it, but if we need to pull it back, we can. Simple, yes. Effective, yes. In your pocket, yes. Easy to use. That is the power. And I can reorder these folders, rename them, add ones, delete them, add notes or documents as you may want to think about them. I can format those documents as much as I want. I can add color and headings and bullet points and numbered list right on the same page. So hopefully this helps you a little bit understand the reason I believe that Tori, you got me hollering too. You are funny. Um, but you can do a lot now with Apple Notes, with simple Apple Notes. Oh, by the way, if you want to say, I want to have a list of all of my videos in inventory, video inventory, and now I want to add a link and I want to start talking about apron. I got a link to that apron. Remember, I didn't have to even remember where it was. I just started typing part of any word that's in that title of that note, and it found it. So now I can build an index or an inventory. Let's say I'm doing episodes, episode 100 to 1000. I can just keep adding to this list. And now, if I want to now take that and say, okay, I want to put a separator in here and I want to put in let me see, do I have one? I don't know if I have one. I'm going out on a limb here, y'all. I'm going to see if I don't know if I have one. I'm looking to see if I've got a graphic that I can put in here. Because you can now put PDFs and graphics and other documents right in the Apple Note. So let's say I'm going to do something here real quick to show you what you can do. Show you what you can do. So let's say this was a I'm just going to pick something. What I'm doing is grabbing a graphic file that my designer, the emotional CEO, made for me. And I want that graphic to be in this note. So we're going to do the good old drag and drop. So I'm going to go to Finder or Downloads folder, which is where I just stuck it. And I'm going to grab that and drop it in here. So now I have my thumbnail. I can have my description. And you got to be able to type, right? And I can have in here if I have links, like if I want to have I James Hicks is going to come on the show, I can put James Hicks dot live on the show here, and I can go right to it. I can have it to grab it and drop it in chat to you all. And and I'm going to ask him because I know one of my moderators is collaborating. Can you grab that link out of that note that's in there and drop it in chat? So you can use, again, a lot of power right in your pocket. You don't have to go add a whole lot. And it's simple because it's just notes, right? It's just notes. Works great. And I wanted to share that because it's kind of a little one of those you don't know that you don't know what all you can do. And when you power this with Siri, our girlfriend, and you add shortcuts to do some automation, you've got a powerhouse going right in your pocket. And you have access to it on all of your devices. So, if this made sense to you, let me know. Please let me know if it made sense to you. All right. So now I got to catch up on what you guys are saying because y'all over here talking. And by the way, if you type equip, I think one of the moderators put it in. If you type equip in chat, your channel will show up and everybody can go follow you and connect with you when it is convenient and when you are going live. And I think, Yolanda, you have a show tonight. So definitely, I think it's it at 8:45? Please go join Yolanda. She's gonna talk Ravens talk. She's gonna talk about our Ravens. So I'm over here hollering, shut the whole shut the whole front door. Apple Notes has folders. Yes. I just have a running list of chaos. Well, now you can organize it in folders. Okay. And James says, what's nice with Apple Notes when you're collaborating, it's also that everyone gets a push notification when there are updates. Yes. Yes. Tora, I can't believe you didn't know this. You all are way smarter than me. You all are way smart. I knew. I just tinker. I'd be tinkering, y'all, be trying to figure it out. Be trying to figure it out. I'm scrolling for dear life all this time looking for the note. I just driving her little red car up with folders. Okay, not the little red car. No, no, no. And see, she drove that little red up full of goodies. Oh, PDFs and screenshots in my images? Yes, yes. Oh, and if you're on your phone or your iPad, you can just scan the document right on there and put it directly in the note. And oh, by the way, if you go over to Doc Rock's channel, he showed it. You can voice record and it will transcribe what you're recording directly into the Apple Note. A lot of power, a lot of power in something that does not look on the surface as if it has that power. Okay? You are not looking pretty crazy. Well, I'm glad that this is useful to you. Simple, I want to do more because there's so many workflows that we can transition. If you're not using something already, or if what you're using, your workflows are not working for you, and oh, just wait till I start showing the integration between reminders and your calendar. Whole new game changer. Whole new game changer. You got it in your pocket. You don't have to get something different. Yes. Thank you for confirming. Yolanda's show is at 8:45 tonight. Great. I will be there. I may be watching on TV and I haven't figured out how to comment on the TV yet, but I'll be there. Denise says, I had the same problem, lots of lists and notes, but chaos, no organization. Apple Notes is the easy way to get that. You can, and you, again, you have it on all your devices if you're in the Apple ecosystem. And you don't have to be perfect at it. Just start where you are. Start where you are. I personally think linking notes together is the hidden secret. One of the reasons when I started using Evernote, one of the reasons I started using Evernote was because it had the ability to link notes together. That was in the product from the very beginning. And I found it just made moving from one piece of information to another piece of information very, very easy. Plus, it has a phenomenal search engine in it. So I could build my workflows linking things together the way I thought about them. Obsidian, um, what's that other one, James? The it hit the scene and it's kind of fizzled out right now. I can't think of the name of it. I can see the picture. Um, but all of these linking apps that have shown up, this concept of linking notes together, I have been doing for years and years and years in Evernote. And I've built just that one feature, you can build a very powerful workflow. Which is for me one of the reasons I haven't yet gravitated to like Notion with the databases, because in essence, those linkages between databases, I do them with linking notes together. I get what I need just by linking notes together. And now with Apple Notes, with being able to link notes together so simply, you you can create whatever workflow you want and have it instantly available to you. Okay. What are you talking about? You're so blown away, you ain't even got strength to talk about. Well, yeah. Mm, yeah, that one. Did I just say that one? I can I have to put this up. Y'all may not be Ravens fans. Yeah. Yes. I am even starting to understand about that one. So David said, I just might have to get an iPhone then. I'm an Android all the way. David, wonder if there's an Android equivalent. You can do a little research and let us know if there's an Android equivalent. I had an Android phone a long, long, long time ago, and I went from that to a Windows phone, and then of course Microsoft threw that away, and I've been Apple ever since. I've been Apple ever since. Yeah, you absolutely, David. Google Keep, same. You can do a lot of the same type of thing using Google Keep, which is why when I showed the video and I showed those lessons learned or RFIs, I showed it with Google Keep and with Apple Notes and with Evernote. It's the same workflow, just different tools. And much of the capability today transfers from one tool to the other. So the answer is not the tool, the answer is understanding what you want your workflow to be and what you want it to do for you. So Denise has another question. I'm thinking, should I go to those chaotic lists and pull them into folders worth my time? This is what I would say. And I'm going to use this as an example. I had a client. She had 65,000 unread emails in her email box. And not only that, she had the red banner. So every time she looked at her phone, she saw this 65,000 unread messages haunting her. What we did was we just declared email bankruptcy. We took it all. So this is my answer to you, Denise. We took it all, create a folder, call it archive, and put a date on it, December 2024. Take all of those lists and throw them in the folder. If they're electronic and they're in your Apple Notes, just throw them in that folder and leave them there. If you find that you need some of that information, then at the time that you need it, do a quick search. Apple Notes will find it and bring that and put it into your current system. Start fresh. So create your new system or your new set of folders, but don't try to arrange all of that stuff in them. Just create a folder, call it archive, put a date on it so you know where you started from. And then as you need something, then go pull it back and bring it into your active system. I learned that when I helped the client, but I also learned it when I was going through. One time I had to basically do this with Evernote. I had so much stuff in there, and I just created a notebook, and I just chucked it all in there. And as I've needed to go back and pull something out, that's when I pull it into my active workflow. Oh my gosh, I can't breathe right now. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You all have to see this. The knock on my door will be FedEx overnight delivery of my devices for you to organize everything and ship them back. Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. And Denise, you have another question. Is Google Keep the same as the form? No, they are not the same. Google Forms is for you to create a form to collect information from people. And you can link those forms to spreadsheets so that when someone fills in the information in the form, the information that they fill in goes into a spreadsheet, and then you can take that spreadsheet and do whatever you want to do with it. I use these a variety of ways. With a couple of the volunteer organizations, I recently created some forms because we needed to collect some information, and now we're going through it in a spreadsheet. And I've done it with a number of other organizations. Google Keep. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Let's take you off. Oh, I don't have my browser open. Let me open my browser. Hold one, please. Let me get to. I'm going to open my browser and show you, Denise, the difference. Where's my test system? There's my test system. All right. Let me bring up, and hopefully this will act right. Let's try this again. Okay, so this is Google Keep that you're looking at now. And I know this is not beautiful because I did it in a hurry. What's locked? Oh, that's locked. Let me unlock that. Let me do this. The beauty of Ecamm. On the fly. So these are Google Keep Notes. And when you can just go to keep.google.com, and it's their note-taking tool. And you can just fill them out. This bar right here that says take a note is how you start. You can just start typing, very similar. My new note. And then you add your content in here. Again, you got to be able to type. Add your content. In Google Keep, you have some similar to Apple Notes. You can add collaborators. You can add background colors and pictures to the note. You can add images. Remember that image? If I bring that image up, I'm going to bring this image in that I just put in the other one. Same image. You can archive. You can add labels. Now, labels are the equivalent of folders. So over here on the right-hand side, I've got active projects, areas. Those are called labels. They become folders, if you will, in Google Keep, because you can't stack them underneath each other, to my knowledge. David, you may know, but I've never been able to figure out how to get them to stack underneath each other. So if I have a bunch of notes, these down here at the bottom of this screen, I've archived, and these at the top are active. And the archive, I just hit the button that says, well, I got to find it, archive right here. And it'll move it down there, and it's no longer active. The reason I would do that, I'm not looking at these. These are the ones up here at the top I want to focus on. Very similar. Just depends on which ecosystem you're in. And you can put Google Keep on your phone, on your tablet. And there may even be a desktop application, but I always use the browser, so I don't know if there's a desktop application. So you can, again, you can build your workflow in Google Keep. Now, the thing that Google Keep has that is specifically unique to it is you can start a note in Google Keep, and you can hit the overflow, the three dots, and copy to Google Docs. What that'll do is it'll take that note, the information or the content of that note, and literally create a whole new Google Doc from it. And now you can work in the Google Doc. That's unique to Google Keep. So it has that integration because it's the Google ecosystem. But it's not a form. It's a note. And you can voice record in Google Keep as well, and it will transcribe your voice recordings. Very similar. You can organize your notes by color. What you can't do, at least as far as I know, is inside of the Google Keep note, you cannot have different color text and different color headers within the body of the note, the same way you can in like a Apple Notes, like I showed you earlier. If you have a follow-up question, please let me know. I will be glad to answer it. All right. So we got more questions. So I really need to start using Keynote, but I'm so used to Canva and creating all my slides. Okay. Use what works for you. Don't introduce friction needlessly. That would be my recommendation, my strong recommendation. What do you mean you about to close this whole laptop lid? Florence Shore. No, I'm not. So I've been manually transferring info, and there is a way to have it auto-populate into a spreadsheet. If you're using Google Forms, absolutely. Yeah, just attach the spreadsheet to the form. What I do is I create my spreadsheet first, and then I just link the form to the spreadsheet that I already created. You can have the form create the spreadsheet and link it automatically, but the reason I do it where I create the spreadsheet is because I create the spreadsheet in the folder in Google Drive where I want it to live. instead of letting Google Form create the spreadsheet and stick it where it wants it to stick it. So my need to control my world is the reason I create my spreadsheet and then I link the form to the spreadsheet. Okay. And David, I thank you. Yeah, I don't think you can do like bolding or colored text of the note in Google Keep. Okay. And what I'll wait for the how-to video on your channel. What how-to video? What are you talking about, lady? What did I just what am I being told I'm doing? Tell me what I'm doing. What how-to video? Let me know. Let me know what I'm doing. All right, y'all. Well, we've been at this for about an hour. You guys have been great. I my desire, I want to ask you a question tonight, and I'm going to try to hit the right button. Nope, not that one. Not that one either. This one. What is your one productivity challenge that you want to address? What is the one productivity challenge? We're ending the year. And as we've gone through over the last few weeks, we've talked about looking back, planning forward, preparing, doing the assessments. What is the one challenge you wanna tackle? Share that. For two reasons. Number one, you know what it is. But number two, perhaps there's a way I can help you or a video I can put together or a special workshop or webinar or something that I can put together. I have loved answering you all's questions tonight and trying to show you some of the simple ways. Nothing I've done here, if you notice, I didn't do any automations, and I do quite a bit of automating things together, but I'm not showing that because if you're just starting, trying to jump from I'm just starting to I want to do a bunch of automations can be a tremendous hurdle. Just getting started with, let's do step one. You know, your Tora says her productivity challenge is organizing my notes and creating folders and cleaning out my image and document storage on your phone. Um, you can move quite a number of the images. And remember to use the files feature on your phone because that links to iCloud. So that's a great way to move those images off and put them onto your other storage files on your phone, the Files app. Game changer. Um, but using these simple techniques and implementing them in a way that makes sense for you. Because what makes sense for you is not going to make sense for probably anybody else. So really give thought, like what makes sense for me Denise, me Tora, me Frank, me emotional CEO, me Yolanda, me David, me Ananeo. What makes sense for the way my brain consumes information and thinks about it? Because it's going to be absolutely unique to you. Okay. So great. So organizing your notes, if you've got a lot of them again, do that kind of what I said, make a folder, call it archive, put a month and a year on there, put it in there, and as you need to use a piece of that content, then bring it out. Instead of spending the time, investing the time to try to organize it all perfectly, if you've got a huge backlog, start fresh, and then know that you've got that backlog sitting in that archive and you can go pull it forward when you need it. That would be my seriously strong recommendation for you. Frank says how to use Google Forms and spreadsheet links. Yes, I will do that. I will show you since I want to give Yolanda some time, so I'm not going to take the time. It's super duper simple. It's like super duper simple. Organizing content ideas and notes from various meetings, streamlining information, Denise says. So, organizing content ideas, Denise, I would say, you know, start with what I showed you tonight. Take an Apple Note, go back here. Let me get to it. And just create a folder. Let's say we're going to create a folder and we're going to call it um, content planning. And then just start creating notes. You can create one that just has ideas. Oops, ideas. I still can't type. And just start putting them in that one note. I don't like that. I break them up. I put each idea in a separate note because then when I start thinking about it, I've got a place I can go start fleshing it out. So I tend to put, uh, I'll give you like I have this video idea how to migrate notes from Evernote to Apple Notes. Software to check out that I want to do some stuff on Clippy and David, James, this is your fault. Clippy and Magnet and I don't know what this one was. I have to look. Some Mac app that I wrote down, breaking down project task, and I started outlining how to do that. So these are ideas that, and you see, this one was way back in March, and this one was captured way back in 2016. But actually, the note started, but I did some updates to it. So you can just make a note and just start. And then as you move them out, if I want to work on this one, I can move it into here. And I don't have to rewrite all of that information that I've already written. I can just keep going. Like, keep it as straightforward as you need it to be to get what you need to get accomplished. That's my strong recommendation. And then, you can do all the formatting and all of that stuff later, but just to get it in there. And if you've got a lot on paper, scan that stuff in, but only scan the one that you really believe you're going to do something with. Don't scan hundreds or thousands of pages in and just make a bigger mess. Really be intentional about what you grab in there. I've done that. Ask me how I know, because I've done it. And then I've got hundreds of PDFs that I've scanned in, and they are just a big blob. That's why I stopped doing it, because I was like, this is not helping. This is not helping me. So there you go. So if there are no other questions, no other comments, Denise says she's cleaning folders as we speak. Thank you all. I appreciate you being here. This was my first true, I guess, Ask Me Anything, and I wanted to just relax. I'm going to do another one next week. So we close out the year answering your questions as you speed into 2025. You are not sputtering and tipping in, you're speeding into 2025. And with your, full, your foot is fully on the gas and you're up to speed. You're not trying to figure out how to get to the speed. So glad to have you guys with me. And I'm going to say good night, and I'm going to see you all over with Yolanda in little over an hour, talking about our Ravens. And thank you all for saying this was very helpful. I'm glad that it was helpful for you. Very practical. I'm a practical, bottom line kind of person. Only way I know how to be. So glad to serve you all and want to continue serving you all. No, Miss Tora, you talking about you looking for the ushers and the collection plate. Lady, I will see you guys later with Yolanda. Have a great weekend, everybody. God bless. So I'm going to put a video right here. Watch it. It'll help you. See you guys next week.